It's a military community. The parents don't want any of that bullshit. They want, give them the reading, writing, and arithmetic. Stop all that nonsense. Give kids freedom. You're out of your mind, Rinaldi. No, it cannot be. So I guess I'm going to insist that my feeling is that SWS can be pretty hard to duplicate unless you have all the conditions that I told you about first. If I could have a wish, and to change the public education, it would be almost impossible. I'd have to have the biggest bomb that was ever made to displace all these mediocre. The thing, I guess I'd have to erase all mediocrity, because most administrators are mediocre ex-coaches. They were failed coaches. That's really true. There's actually been a study made that principals came from the ranks of coaches and then went upwards or outwards or wherever they went. There are not very many intellectual principals. If you say, am I a typical principal? I say, God, I don't want to be a typical principal. I don't know what typical anything is, but I know I don't want to be a typical principal. Conventional, ministerial, clerical, dour, sour, authoritarian, pompous, fatuous. I don't want to be any of that. I'm going to be unconventional. I remember one story to prove my point. Mary, my wife, was the day before school was going to open in Brookline, and she was cutting my hair, and the phone rang. So she ran to the phone. I said, "Don't be long, Mary." And she was longer than I wanted her to be. And I'm impatient. I told you time is very important to me. So I took the razor and I cut off every hair on my head. She came up, she says, "You're totally crazy, you're mad. What will you do tomorrow?" I said, "I'll go to school and I won't have any hair." I made the biggest, I was the sensation of the week, that week in Brookline. Because no principal had ever come in without a hair on his head. And I think that principals have to be daring and gutsy and tough, and I think they have to be bright. And I think they have to like everything and everybody. And they can't be pedestrian, and they can't be asses. They have to be people who stand up and think. The kids are not very excited in schools any longer, I don't think. So I hate kids coming out of school with long faces. Or if you say, "Well, what did you do today?" "Nothing." "What did you learn today?" "Oh, didn't learn a damn thing." "Do you like it? I hate her." Everything is negative. If that's the experience the kid has, he shouldn't be in school. You should say, well, you have to shake up the faculty, beat on the kids, throw the books out. I had a wonderful experience one year before I came to SWS. The high school in Air, where I had been appointed principal, burnt down. We had not one book, not one, and no money. And so I told the teachers, we've got to do it. We've got to create the materials. We had the best year because teachers had to think. They couldn't run to the library. They couldn't go to the bookshops. They didn't give out 20 books to the kids. We had to do our own thing. And it was the best single year we ever had. And then when we became traditional, I quit. I didn't stay. Each community can start with a cluster of young people and a cluster of faculty and a cluster of supportive parents and supportive politicians can allow a small community to divert itself from whatever the middle road is that community is following. And that they can allow the children and the faculty and students to go ahead and thrust forward in a different direction. And that it make it a go. So but I don't think it should be separated. I always insist that they must not be, you go over there and do your thing. We will do our thing together. And I think that if communities allow for a separate organism, to be within the large organism and give them the freedom to choose and make choices, etc., I think that they can be SWSs modified and different from my SWS. But I think each one must be different. I don't think that we should have 500 SWSs that are just patterns of Brookline's. Brookline has its SWS, and other communities can make their own SWS. And if you do it in that concept, that you keep the mold and the framework and the freedom and all of that, it's okay. It will fly, I think. It could go. And I would be willing to be a consultant for that, at no fee.